M1 is really the bookend in the whole concept for a re-envisioned H1.
Wanted to take it to the absolute extreme.
With our first launch client, a Mil-Spec M1 R.
I really do feel like this is going to be the ultimate expression of what an H1 could be.
Looking back on it is very funny, just going through all of these photos of these trucks that I was drawing. Kind of having like the childhood dream of like, hey, it'd be really cool to create a brand and build a legacy off it.
900 horsepower at the crank, so that equates to around 800 and something at the wheel.
Mil-Spec has been officially around for 5 years.
I became a part of the Mil-Spec team when I attended UW-Madison. I met Adam Mitchell just by chance on a sports team, and we ended up having the same major and sharing a couple classes, and he asked me if I knew of any like off-roading spots in the area, and I was like, yeah, I mean, if you're willing to drive a few hours. So then we made the 3-4 hour trek up north and in the Wisconsin Northwoods, and needless to say, broke his Hummer more than a few times.
So I met Adam in high school, and he and I immediately hit it off with our shared love of cars and motorcycles. After he graduated, and I went off to college as well, he stayed in contact with me. We were always talking about the industry as well as what cars were catching our eye. And very early on in college, we both were talking about the military Humvee auctions that were starting to become prevalent, to where you could get a military Humvee between like $5,000 and $10,000, ton of truck for the money. He brought me in with this business concept for Mil-Spec, initially taking military Humvees and reconditioning them for on-road use. That snowballed into a business, and Chris got involved very early on as well. And 5.5 years later, here we are. We're creating fully modernized civilian Hummer H1s, and now we're even dabbling in newer trucks as well.
My inspiration as a brand and as a micro-industrial car company really stemmed from the visions that I had when I was a child and things that I thought would be really cool to see in the automotive industry that had not been done yet. I've always kept this briefcase that was actually my father's, that he gave to me in grade school. And it was funny, looking back on some of the stuff that I had drawn in grade school, of my own design, essentially, and kind of having like the childhood dream of like, hey, it'd be really cool to create a brand with and build a legacy off of. Drawing essentially what would be a 6x6 H2, and then 15 years later, 12 years later, Mercedes comes out with a G-Wagon 6x6.
Obviously, Mil-Spec started with the H1. It's really our idea of the ultimate off-road vehicle. What really drew Adam in to the original military Humvee, it will always be the flagship for Mil-Spec's brand lineup, and we'll continue to develop it. Each truck will be better and better. Our assembly team and our development team are true Hummer specialists and passionate off-roaders, highly specialized in the Hummer world, and has been working on Hummer H1s for 25 years. His expertise with the platform, the package itself, has allowed us to push even further than we thought was possible with the M1.
Adam used to bring his Hummer in for service, so I met him and connected with him because we did some pretty big upfits on different accessories on his truck. So he kept in contact with me through all that stuff for a couple of years while I was working on that and servicing it. And then he just kept my number and contacted me after he started this up in Michigan.
So Mil-Spec Automotive is in the Motor City simply due to the very in-depth heritage and craftsmanship the city carries with it. Coming to Michigan from Kansas, our original facility location, opened my eyes to all of the passion and more like hands-on related production that occurs. And a lot of the production workers and like really looking for a company like Mil-Spec Automotive to work at, just simply due to the fact that they can return to the roots of the automotive industry. One thing that I noticed, we're going in a direction as an entire automotive industry where you're taking away all the craftsmanship, and to interview guys and see, their skilled trades and see their abilities and stuff. It was really interesting to see their eyes light up when you gave them the opportunity to, work a, half-century old press brake, or, actually lay out a wiring harness on a form board, not, just in CAD. So going against the grain of it, from the way that the rest of the automotive industry and the Motor City is going, and returning to the roots and returning to the coach building has been really exciting for me. The facility here at Mil-Spec was extracted from Ian's brain in terms of exactly the way that we had always envisioned it over the last 5 years. So it's almost as if the employees are working within a showroom, and they're able to see the vehicle in a light that the end user, the customer, is going to end up seeing it in. So the facility is very focused on showcasing, but just fully through and through. So everywhere from the lounge to the showroom to the back production space to the upholstery department, we made sure that it was a very approachable facility, and it was a very clean space that would allow us the opportunity to, not only bring clients in, but potentially in the future bring in, other brands to work alongside or do some sort of collaborations with as well.
The new iteration of the Mil-Spec H1 platform is the Mil-Spec M1. Essentially, we took 5 years worth of trial and error, thousands and thousands of hours of refinement on the original launch edition platform, and it is fully embodied in what will be the first Mil-Spec M1, and it will be
the most detailed, the most powerful, and advanced Hummer H1 that Mil-Spec's ever built. That being said, upholstery, powertrain, components are all going to be brought to another level. And one of the major goals that we had was to eliminate all plastic from the truck. So you'll see in the new M1, the interior design and all of the familiar Mil-Spec elements will still be there, but the fidelity and the level of quality of each one of those components will really be at such a higher level.
To go back to a lot of the manufacturers and start doing larger production runs, and all the shortcomings that we had during the launch edition production, work alongside our manufacturers to ensure that timeless design cues that we were looking for would not be overlooked.
So a client of ours who we have a very close relationship with came to us with a concept to really push even what we thought was possible even further. The M1 R will be the perfect truck to kick off the M1 series with a bang. This truck will be not only the most powerful Mil-Spec vehicle ever built, it will be the most unique in terms of color combination and overall configuration. Our team has done a really good job of sticking to the brand's core values of keeping a monochromatic, simple, military-inspired design language. But this client felt that we needed to do something that was more of an original retro Hummer feel. So this truck will be not only pushing us further in terms of execution of the powertrain, but it'll be pushing our design team to execute something for a client with a very unique taste.
Having that buyer check all the boxes, if you will, and be able to produce that first holy grail vehicle for the M1 series has been very exciting.
800 horsepower, 1,400 pound-feet of torque, biodiesel compatible, and every single nut and bolt on this entire vehicle has been gone through the team. Make it a fully encompassing package that is pretty much the most extreme diesel heavy duty off-road truck you could ever own and drive.
With the M1 R race application that we have behind us here, it has 900 horsepower at the crank, which equates to around 800 horsepower at the wheels. It has a Wilwood 6-piston brake kit, so way better stopping, and it has a extreme long travel suspension, like a Baja Race Edition setup for the suspension, and it works awesome.
Yeah, taking these chances, they wouldn't give me the answers, so I gotta go out and get it. I'ma hold them off for ransom. That's how I planned it. Did it right here where I'm standing. Came from the mud, they counted us out. Now we standing on the planet. They don't know just what to do with me. Promise this is nothing new to me. If you came in here to ruin me, hope you writing out a eulogy. I was tailor-made beautifully, you can never find two of me. Look how I'm shining.
The full validation of all the hard work and everything else that we put into it. And the cool thing about what we do is that delivering the truck after everything's said and done, the reaction, months after, years after the vehicle's delivered, and seeing the people that they introduce the brand, to their excitement and enjoyment and I guess acknowledgement for a lot of the details that go into building one of these trucks. I get more enjoyment and fulfillment out of that experience than I would if we got a deposit on another build slot.
One of the most important aspects of Mil-Spec's customer experience for us is working directly with a client. One of the things that sets our experience apart from designing and building your dream H1 with us is the ability for you to, work directly with me, Adam, Chris, to have an influence and a major impact on every single part of the build and design process. So each client's relationship with Mil-Spec has really been personal, and it allows for really unique changes and improvements that we wouldn't have thought of on our own. Each client's taste and vision for their H1 is different, and we feel that it's really important to work with them, really extract their dream configuration and design, so we can build them a truck that's truly theirs.
Always on the grind till the sun come on us. They can never control us. Running for the prize, raise high for the toast. This is our moment. This is our moment. This is our moment. This is our moment. This is our moment.